Okie dokies. Let me see who we've got here. Brad, who's going to come on and help us with a bit of. What are you doing, Cat? Monroe. There's nothing in there. There's. Nope.
Hello,
Nope.
Brad. Hello, Lucille. Hello, Bozaballs. Aaron.
Possible. Bosa.
And there's
Aaron.
Michaela.
Michaela is in the chat. However, she's not in the house because she has munchkins at her house and her sister has to pick them up. It only says 2 people. Come on. We have a person to interview and everything. Sort of. Sherry. Yes. Has the Animal House finished yet? Completely done? Anyway, I am going to bring on in our guest. His name is Ian Brazee-Cannon, as if I don't have it written all over the place here. He does writing. He has some very good writing. He knows a lot of good words too, and he reads, and he writes, and he knows an awful lot of stuff that really is it's interesting stuff. He knows a lot of interesting stuff.
Kimberly.
Hey, Kim! Thank you very much for showing up, Kim. An erectile dysfunction. Hey. How it be? Anyway, I should not be doing that when I am
introducing.
Thank you.
Cat.
Introducing a guest. Cat.
Our guest.
Hey.
Ian Brazee-Cannon. Writer, artist, etc.
He's not an artist.
Or whatever.
He has made films, though. Yeah, he has.
Hi.
Hello, Ian.
I am the guy that knows stuff, apparently.
Doing well.
A lot of useless stuff.
Yeah, I am a filmmaker, although I've not made a career out of that. I'm trying to make a career out of the writing, so.
Wow, filmmaking. Gee, I wonder. Let's see.
I finished a number of other kids. But first, we are going to bother the crap out of Ian. And I'm probably going to have to get off in about an hour.
Yeah, because she has to go to work tomorrow. She has school. Now, let me.
Saturday of the year.
Yep, so income tax is almost done here.
Yeah.
Now, let me see. What can I do to make someone smile? I might be able to, share a screen of something.
And
I don't know what.
Said, hello, Ian.
Hey. So, where is this?
6 people.
1, 2, 3.
So.
Is that it? Oh, that's it. Shall I bring this up completely? I have brought this up completely. Now, what is this? I have no idea what this is.
Okay, so that is Secluded. It is a short film that we did for, I forget what contest it was. It's one of those contests where you have like the whole weekend to write it and shoot it and edit it and put it together and get it out there. In this case, we were given the title, and that was it. So we had to call our film Secluded. But it was up to us to figure out from there where to go. And so this one's really cool because this is the first one where both my boys are with us in it.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the one I was editor on this one. I can edit film. It's not something I necessarily enjoy. And there are actually 2 cuts of this because so right there you can see me and my co-director of it, Christian. We co-wrote it and basically helped direct and everything else. We had been talking about the differences in endings, and we filmed 2 different endings, but we also did some odd cuts earlier on. That's like, okay, I can work with that. And so the 2 different cuts aren't just the ending. There's a few other things that I edited differently, so to make the other ending work. So this was an amusing thing because we officially submitted 1 copy, but I, out of fun, did 2 different cuts of it. So yeah.
Yeah, I watched the whole thing. It was quite interesting. I didn't see the second one though, just this one. But I did look up at on your IMDb thing.
Yeah, no, that's one of the cool things. Any of these short films you do for the 48-hour film festival, or any of the contests like that, are considered professional credits.
Nice.
And so both of my boys, who are just getting out of high school, basically, have a handful of professional credits from working on these short films with us.
Beauty. Oh, we've got a couple people to say hi to. We've got Morbid.
Yes. And Solo.
Hello, people.
Mr. J. Solo. Brad is back. And Morbid is here as well. Yeah, I know Kim, one of Kim's subscribers. Yeah, Kim, you're gonna have to give your buddy, what's his name? Just a second. Matt. Give him a kick in the arse. Tell him to stop being an asshole. Thank you. Don't mind me. I tell people where to put their other people. So I thought that would surprise you that I noticed that.
It's a few years old now, but it was a fun piece to do.
Cool. So people can take a look at that. Fungus Queen. She did a short live of a tornado in Kansas today. Well, that sounds like fun. I don't think that was edited. I mean, scripted. Very much. Yours was scripted. That one wouldn't have been. Okay. So, how long ago did you get into writing?
Well, originally I was into filmmaking. That's what my degree's in. That's what, as a child, if you asked me, I said I want to write and direct films. That was always my passion. But it was basically a need for storytelling. So you get to one point where you realize breaking into film is not that easy. While the writing part is a little easier to break into, even though it's still, quite the challenge.
Not perfect for trying to get there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just started writing. Originally, I wrote, figured I would write a great novel, this fantasy epic of vampires and dragons at war, and it was going to be this really awesome epic story. Then I got involved with the writers group, professional writers group, gave them the first few chapters, and they gave me back, honest feedback, honest notes, and more I realized I don't know what the hell I'm doing yet.
Right.
So I went and started focusing on short stories. And This would have been, honestly, about 20 years ago. Yeah, time's a funky thing. Actually, probably more like 25 years ago. But I started focusing on short fiction. Got a few pieces published in semi-professional formats in various ways, and did that for a good decade, trying to just get stuff out there. Then I started doing a friend of mine, J. Allen Irwine, who runs Nomadic Delirium Press, quite often comes to me when he has a project and says, "Hey, can you contribute?" So he came up with the Divided States of America, which is approximately 100 years from now, where the United States has fallen apart and divided into all these various nation states.
Right. I have bought most of those.
So the first story the first story was a favor to him. It's like, okay, I'll write something in your universe, give it to you so you have something. The problem was I ended that story with introducing a young lady who does not much, but her life changes drastically at the end of it. And here I am. I'll leave that be, let that be. But then she kept kind of nagging at me. The character's like, hey, wait a moment. You started my story, but there's so much more of a story to tell about me. And so I gave in. And I wrote 2 more stories about her. And focusing on what happened during the aftermath of that. And so you can see her fleshed out really well. What she goes through, developmental, really felt good. So I'm feeling like, yes, she has her story told. Then I'm working for the post office. I worked for the post office for a season, and I saw this name, Serenity Payne. I'm like, that is a beautiful name. I love that name. That's a character. So I end up, okay, I'll do one more Divided States of America story because I want to have this character I've come up with, Serenity Payne. So he has to be in it. So I write the story, and it's like, great, I love this story. There's such a solid story. But then, of course, in it, I introduce this one minor character who does some really awesome stuff, but you don't get to know him. I'm like, damn it, now I got to flesh his story out. So then I went back and I wrote a couple stories fleshing his background out.
Right.
And by this point, I have written more stories in the Divided States of America than anyone else. And I've been told by countless people that's the best stuff they've seen me write. People that have followed me, like, wow, you're really writing some good stuff down. This is incredible. You've come a long way. And so that got my confidence up to the point where let's try something bigger. And so then I wrote my young adult novel, The Cost of Leveling Up, which near future, you take World of Warcraft, but you put it on such a huge scale that it's become reality television. And people go into these interactive arenas and play out the adventures with a really cool technology. But then, of course, I had to work the story in there. So I finished that up, and I really liked it. And like, okay, let's try something bigger. And that's when the first Georgie and Armand novel came to me. Well, it didn't come to me. It's when I decided to devote myself to doing it. The idea was Brian's from our me and MadChat here do a podcast called The Amateur Skeptics. And Brian Heisner is kind of the driving force behind that podcast. It was his idea. He really pushes it, but he came up with Georgie and Armand originally like 20 years ago for our role-playing games.
Right.
And they were just fun characters. And for the longest time I had concepts. There's such a story to tell with these two and their hotel and everything else. But I have a lot of false starts, and some of my writing was there, things like that. But here I was feeling much more confident in my writing than I'd ever felt before, and wanting an idea that I really thought would be unique and draw some attention to itself. Yeah. And having
Look,
2
Ian,
gay.
You're a dark horse, Ian. You didn't say a word backstage. You sat there in complete silence, didn't say anything. And now you were saving it all. You were saving it all for the live, right?
Believe me.
I will sit back and be the creepy guy in the corner, but once you get me going, I can talk. And I can be candid and open and go weird places with it all.
Every time in our podcast,
that's good.
Just it's hilarious and fun. Oh, here we go. Our other co-host.
How you doing? Hi, Dot.
This is Brad. Brad, this is Ian.
Hi.
Howdy, Ian.
Oh, sorry, Ian. I do have to put this in right here because everyone's been saying it. Benji! Okay, there we go.
Okay.
What?
Benji knows he's loved, but he doesn't know why.
Who's Benji?
Benjimon. Benjimon. The big feeding stuff. And he's going to be feeding himself, which is natural.
Benjimon is having some big feedings.
Yeah. Hey, Doc, could you get me a little more of that banana bread too, please?
You having chicken soup again,
Benjimon
Benji?
is hungry.
Chicken soup? chicken soup. Got to sleep all day. Well, that's a fun thing.
Shh. Sherry's hungry. No, just a bit of
Howdy,
spaghetti.
Mr. J. How you
Just
doing,
some
bud?
spaghetti, some bacon,
Bacon
some
and pasta.
toast. Food.
There we go. Banana bread.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Okay. And on we go.
Mm.
All right, so
Dungeons and Dragons.
My battery's gonna go flat very soon.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
We'll understand if you disappear.
Noise.
Oh my goodness, Kit Kat. Okay.
okay.
Well, at least that was in the
Right.
kitchen, so
Let's
we
see.
do
Sorted.
know or hope it is
Done.
water.
Kit Kat. What's Kit Kat doing? Hey, Kit Kat.
Kit Kat apparently is finally being able to sleep after having insomnia for a week.
Yeah, no, I wasn't peeing everywhere. I was just washing that pot out so it doesn't make a big mess.
I know. No, I'm just teasing you. It's not shaving day.
Right. Yeah, I had insomnia last night.
That's why you're still awake.
My back is sore. Fuck. Right, I'm lagging too, so cut me some slack there.
Hey, I always cut you slack.
I hate
Rosie's
lagging.
just waiting for new knives, but we'll wait for that.
Right, who's telling me stories? Someone was Ian, you were
Ian.
telling the story.
So, Georgie and Armand are two gay dragons, shape-shifting master mage dragons,
Somebody tell me stories.
who run an interdimensional hotel. That concept alone was one of those things that's like, okay, there's infinite stories to be told here. And so, the ideas have been in my head ever since Brian introduced it. I got his blessing to go ahead and write the stories. And, so I started in it. But for me, we're talking about Interdimensional Hotel. And I've read Callahan's Cross Time Saloon, Castle Perilous.
Did you say two grey dragons or two gay dragons?
Gay.
What did you say? Gay dragons, not grey.
Yes.
Gay.
No. One is black and one is red. But they're... So anyways, there's been, to me, so many different interdimensional things done in the past that I wanted to, really do something with it, especially as many of them have let me down. It always seems like, we'll go into a million different worlds, but it'll just be a group of humans that we focus on. We'll follow them and, and not really even explore the other worlds or explore the other characters from the different worlds. We'll focus purely on the human side of things. And that got boring to me. So when I really got invested in this idea, I knew I didn't want to go that route. I want to do something different. Way back when in the mid-90s, Kevin J. Anderson edited a anthology called Tales from the Mos Eisley Cantina. Basically, you take the infamous scene from the first Star Wars movie. A huge scene that everyone's like, oh my God, that's the most amazing thing. And you have all these aliens from dozens of different worlds interacting. And the idea of the anthology was the writers would pick out one of those aliens, write a story focusing on that character, and then have it, connected into the movie. So we know what they were doing like beforehand and after the scene, stuff like that. But it was showing the point of view of all these different aliens. and what they did, their lives and all that, but having them interlinked in the famous cantina scene. And I thought it was an awesome anthology. I loved the concept. The stories were so well done. So that's what I wanted to go for. So the first half of A Day at Georgie and Armand's Place, the first novel in the series, and it's going to be, I'm going to follow through with this being the pattern, is almost like an anthology. In each story, you're following a different character, a different group of characters around from a different world. So you get an idea of their mentality, what they're used to, their cultures, all that stuff. But they all interact in the same hotel, obviously, and there's a bigger story building up behind them. And then the second half goes into more of a traditional novel where it all comes together and you can see the characters actually directly interacting as the story gets played out and fleshed out. You can see what's really been going on. So that was basically how I started Georgie and Armand's Place, and I just love the characters so much I don't want to stop writing them.
They are fun characters. I've read some, and I listened to a little bit. I know. I have to get back to reading, but it's hard. I have to listen to to everything as well, but I'm not crazy about his voice, to be honest.
About what?
About the voice.
Oh, my narrator?
Yeah.
For the audiobooks?
Yeah, I think I'll do better.
Hey, you have an offer. If you want to set up an account and start becoming a producer, we can work with that.
I just want to do the voice.
Well, through Audible, you officially would have to become a producer.
my battery.
I know. I'm working on it.
Okay, cool.
Fuck.
Hey,
So,
Benj, I think your battery's gone. Is it? Or are you just sideways for fun?
His battery's gone.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. He'll be back in 5 or 10 minutes.
Yep. You'll just change the battery. Yeah, Michaela's been burned a fair amount. Sitting in the sun. And with us ghosts.
Well, come in here, Michaela. It'd be a good contrast.
She's working. Working. In a sense, it's like working, babysitting relatives' kids. Her sister hasn't come to pick them up yet.
Oh.
Yeah. But the two characters are very interesting. Georgie and Armand, the way they interact and everything. I like it.
And one of the things I really enjoyed with writing it is fleshing them out and figuring who they are out, because I say they're gay, but it's interesting to look at them separately and see, because like Armand Armand is asexual. He does not really, the way he is.
He doesn't really broadcast as one or the other.
He doesn't really have a desiring thing. But if you read the flashback story, which I'll actually go into a whole cool thing about that, you see that one of the big things was Georgie got him to relax. Georgie being Georgie broke through the shields and stuff he had and let him kind of enjoy life. And so it didn't matter whether or not he necessarily had a sexual attraction or romantics or anything else. Georgie was the one that got him, got through to him in a way no one else had ever had. So the relationship isn't necessarily, oh, I'm into males. It's I'm into Georgie. Georgie's the one who did what was needed to get me, to become a different person.
Okay, 1 second, Matt. If you start up any trouble here, I'm going to kick you out so fast it's ridiculous. You behave or else. No kicking on Mr. J, no kicking on anyone else, and no calling anyone anything. Got it? You say yes right now. Hi. You heard me. Say yes. or you're going bye-bye. And I have 2 people here who are willing to hit that fuck you button.
Okay, so he's not starting it.
I see that. Okay. You behave here. You know how mad I get. Don't say sure. It's not sure. It's yes. No playing around. No one here will take it. Okay, go ahead.
Hello.
Okay,
Well,
then.
hello, Matt. It's just I heard that you were already pushing on people before, and I don't want it. But if you're going to behave, you can stay.
Sorry, Ian.
No,
Sorry. Sherry just tells people off.
Now we got to keep it good.
I understand. I can definitely appreciate that.
Yeah, I don't take it behind the scenes. I just say get lost.
Yeah, she's rather outspoken.
Well, I very seldom do that. Very seldom. But sometimes I do get grumpy and say, don't do this. And I've had enough enough drama and enough people giving me trouble because of not dealing with drama. It's like, fine, no drama, ever, no. Don't let them talk about me. Who should I let them talk about? No one. Damn, that's no fun. Sheesh. Understood, Kit Kat. It'd be 10 o'clock. Yay. Oh, first off, before we go any further, Dorothy, once again, show off the prize that we are going to be putting on 300.
Subscribers.
Thank you.
I haven't fully fenced it yet.
Oh.
How about this?
Show the newest one.
Newest one.
Hold on a sec. I'm going to put Dorothy on full.
Look at it.
Little boy's room.
Yeah.
It even has a little itty bitty toy plane there. And books. Itty bitty wheels on the thing there. There's a boat. And that's a little train on top of the boat, isn't it?
No.
Oh, it's just fully the boat. Okay. Could be a little girl's room. Doesn't matter. It's a kid's room.
With lights.
And it has lights, of course. But Dorothy didn't try to light me up when she was making it this time.
In any case, this is my latest one. Don't think I've shown you either the ones with the kitties.
You're wanting to show off those as well?
Hmm?
Poor Ian's feeling secondhand here now. All of a sudden.
I'm fine.
Yeah, well, I'm also going to be going to sleep soon.
Okay, show them off, show them off, show them off.
Yes, I'm showing them off.
Jeez. Hey, Kurtwood, how's it going? You missed Ian explaining about his books. And me telling Matt to behave, and I think Kit Kat kicked him out or something.
Not sure.
Hey, Ozak, how's it be? Next one is... Oh. Little house, little kitty cat. Oh, there's a swing on this one. And it swings. How cute. And little itty bitty flowers. And Whole bunch of fun stuff.
Yeah, this one lights up as well, of course.
And they all light up. Michaela. Michaela's sister hasn't picked up her kids yet, so she's stuck in the outside room.
Yeah. So that's one of them.
Wow, people come around once you start showing those things off.
Oh, yeah.
We don't care about the writer. Let's see Dorothy's stuff.
Yeah, those are pretty impressive.
They are. And that little dining room, I guess.
No, this is a cake shop.
Oh, that's the cake shop.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's getting some
Cakes there.
yeah, it's getting a bit of glare, but yeah, there's little cakes in that yeah, I'm pointing at it as if people can really see where I'm pointing. That hutch with all the little cakes in there
There.
for some tea or
And you
coffee
look at
and
them, they almost look like they're real.
I know you put them in front of me going, here, look at this, and I'm almost ready to eat the darn thing. And it's like, wait a moment. This is one of your little things, isn't it?
That one rug.
No, Dorothy's showing off the dollhouses, Kurtwood. Kurt. Why did I do that? That's weird. There. It looks really good from here. Yeah. Because it's not got shining off of it like it had. But it's a really nice little bakehouse. We're showing those to give an idea of the one that is going to be given in a draw once we get to 300. But yes, there is a guest. He has been talking. He's very good at that. He hasn't found something to say about Dorothy's stuff yet because he can't say something bad about it.
Oh, they're impressive.
Except for her good.
All right.
Just they don't very often hear you say, oh crap.
Oh, okay.
Oh, my boy's back. You pooped on me, you get to stay there until later. Silly little dragon.
Yeah, this is one that's supposed to be,
That's the one that's going to go for the draw.
yeah, I just have to,
Put it back together.
yeah.
Nothing fell out or anything. Saw Matt and left. Sorry, didn't want to deal with him.
Yeah, it's
Oh, I told him off. Don't worry, Mr. J. I told him off and told him to behave or get kicked out.
I just have to fix the wiring and
You did time him out. I thought so. Yep. She timed out the one person, that's all. Glad you're back, Mr. J. Shouldn't have to run away. I tell them to behave or be booted.
behave or bye-byes.
Yep. And Kit Kat timed him out because he didn't sound like he was going to behave. He already started bullying him in here? Where the frick did he do that? I only saw him say hi and such.
Yeah.
Hey, Mr. J. Oh, he was. Yeah. Well, he was doing that in another channel before. I told him to behave, or he was going to go, and he was, back talking a bit, and Kit Kat tossed him. And I told him right out, hey, there's people here willing to toss you out in 5 seconds. Which happened. That is a point, Michaela. And that's what happened. Okay. So, we're done with that?
Yep. Done
Okay.
with that.
So,
I'll see if I can move this up.
haha. You're on solo now.
Yay.
So,
Now just angle it so they can see right up my nose.
y'all must do that, don't you? So it's harder when I put you on single?
Well, just trying to think of where to start and go back into it all and what to talk about.
Well,
Of course, if anyone has any questions, feel free to ask. So this last Sunday, MadCat and me, we did the Amateur Skeptic podcast like regular, and we got talking about my writings. And one of the things they were saying is I need to try and promote Georgie and Armand's place as being romance.
with the hair
Because
flowing.
what?
You always have to have that flowing hair.
Me?
Especially when they're running. Yeah, the guys always have to have that flowing hair bit going and all that other stuff because it's a romance.
Oh, yeah. So they're like, romance. That's what, people are really buying that stuff, and there is a romance story there. So it's like, okay, well,
We were having fun teasing them.
yeah, but it's still inspiring because it did get me thinking. Because one of the things is trying to get a bigger audience, trying to get people to check out Georgie and Armand's place and see what it is, and give it a try. Within the first novel, there was a 3-part flashback story called "The Courtship of Georgie and Armand," which I keep comparing to When Harry Met Sally, because it's a 3-part story. The first part is when they first meet, and there's not really a thing between them, but they're aware of each other. Second part, they meet again, and that's when sparks fly, things change, and they, hook up, and their relationship changes drastically. However, in the third part, instead of a New Year's Eve party, I have a mage duel that gets pretty chaotic and pretty devastating. So, that's where the comparison's in, but still, the first 3 meetings, basically, they have, and how those events create their foundation for the future relationship. So I took those 3, the 3-part flashback, and I polished them up, did some basic editing, and got with one of our other fellow co-hosts from the Amateur Skeptics, Mac, and he's working on a cover for me for it. And if everything goes right, this should be available this next week. And but the thing is, in working with Mac and talking about the cover, it needs to be a gay romance cover. So never in my life did I ever picture myself asking a friend of mine hey, can you do a cover with a couple naked men embracing each other passionately with a lot of sexual energy between them, with like the glistening sweat off their bodies and all of that. I never thought I'd actually be requesting someone customize that kind of artwork for me.
Would have you felt more embarrassed to ask me than him?
I know him better. If you want to do some artwork like that, go for it.
I was looking at the role play game book with all the creatures.
Okay.
Did I buy someone else's stuff?
Oh, the one I did?
Yeah.
Wow. That was okay.
That
So
was for that game you guys made.
well, I didn't make the game. Once more, go on my friend J. Allen Irvine. He created a role playing system of his own called Ephemeris.
Right.
And he said, "Hey, could you do something for it?" And for some reason, I decided to do my version of the monster manual. But instead of these great big beasts to fight, I decided let's do little rodent pests that could just be interesting to see how players deal with them. And so I came up with, I don't know how many it was, but I wanted it to be from different planets and everything. And so you have like these crab-like creatures, except for the fact that they will dig into this the floor of the ship so that you can't get them out without destroying your ship. It was all sorts of things like that. And from Earth, I did. You have mutant rats. No, it's mutant hamsters. And I forget the thing about the rats, but it's basically rats and hamsters from Earth. Like I said, I went from all different worlds.
Planet near Mars?
What was that?
Radioactive hamsters from a planet near Mars?
Yes, hamsters from a planet near Mars.
Radioactive.
We're good to continue.
So Travis needs to know what's going on.
But yeah, that was just a fun thing. It's a supplement for his role playing
It's
system.
not feeding. Tomorrow's feeding night. Y'all relax.
I have no idea what that was. I did do a second supplement for them of your more traditional role playing supplement where it's an adventure for you to put your friends through. So I did 2 supplements for Ephemeris. And as far as I know, they're still available and out there. And he every so often does a few more things. Most of it's been him. So it's him and his friend who created it. His friend basically hasn't done anything with it since then. So I'm the only other person who's actually created for this role-playing universe besides the creators themselves. So.
Well, you have fun making it.
Yeah.
Did anyone-
Well, for one thing with that, it was I didn't have to write the stories. I just had to flush out the creatures.
Yeah.
And
which
what they're
isn't
like.
all that too
And
bad.
yeah. So it was just a fun, silly little thing to do. That, it was actually fairly easy. It's like, okay, how many bizarre little alien creatures can I come up with?
Lots.
Yeah.
Lots.
And so that was so technically I have written for a role-playing game. I am a game designer.
Okay, Night Kurtwood. Glad you got to see your little grandson for a while. We've got to see another picture of him soon. Or him soon. Him. He's a cutie.
And be cuties.
Yep. Night. Here, I'll put you back. I'll put you back on regular. You seem to be getting like, I'm here alone.
It's like, okay, I'm not the one talking. Stuff's going on. I don't have any
Where it's
puppets
coming
handy.
from.
Oh, Jim and I could probably find enough stuff in this room to entertain people if I wanted to.
Well, you probably could. I mean, there's that big thing with wings up there,
Yeah.
and a lot of books. And
Yeah.
I mean,
him.
Brad has a great old
One of my
time
pets.
entertaining us with his Gila monsters.
No, well, so
And-
this is
and his lovely snake. The
So- we're a very geeky family.
Yes.
My boys have been raised about as geeky as you can be. So right here in the living room, you name the franchise, the geek franchise, there is a good chance there's something connected to it within arm's reach. So when my house became my house after the divorce, my house went super geeky.
Good for you. I hate people telling others, well, you marry me and you got to get rid of this. Hey, yeah, right. Go away. Don't you tell me I have to get rid of something. Get rid of my comics? Not a chance.
Yep.
Forget that shit. Get rid of my cats? Yeah, you want to die? You know, it's just not kosher to be telling people to get rid of their stuff just because you're getting married. I mean, if you didn't like the stuff in the first place, you shouldn't be with the person.
Well, this was we need our house to be normal in case for company. So
Why?
it's like, yeah, I never completely understood that. So
I mean,
all my
if you
geeky,
have company, they're your friends. Your friends
Yeah.
know you're crazy. What's the deal?
oh yeah, no, since I geeked out, some of the same friends come over and they love it.
Yeah.
And it's very much
I mean-
me and my boys. Very much what you see in here represents us. So,
Which is geekdom, and geekdom is just fine.
oh,
I mean,
yeah.
it's become popular actually.
Oh, it's surprising within my lifetime to see how it's changed. Because I
Yeah.
recall back in high school, actually, some people like, "What is D&D? Oh my god, that sounds so stupid."
Yeah.
And it's like, well, now it's like pop culture. We have how many shows on YouTube that basically are, hey, let's watch people play D&D.
Mm-hmm. It's amazing, and it's kind of fascinating just sitting there going, oh, because you get stoned watching it sort of just wow.
And more, big stars in Hollywood would come out saying, "I'm a geek."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, what's
Because
this one song? Oh darn, it's by I forget her name, but it's about being a geek and things happening to the people who were geeks, and then I'm the cool one now.
Oh yeah, from the Guild.
Right, from the
Felicia
guild.
Day.
That's her
Trying to remember
name.
the actual one.
And she actually got a character in Dragon Age because of the little the um the rendition she did of a character of hers.
It wouldn't surprise me.
But she's got a whole there's a whole a small expansion with her, which is cool
Yeah.
because she was a big fan of it and she got in it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like oh God, I forget his name too, but for the Sims video game. In Sims 2, he was put in the video game because he played it on his show. His show every time on a break or whatsoever, he was always playing The Sims.
Okay.
So EA got him to he kind of bounced and was extraordinarily happy about, hey, Area 51, how you doing? About being able to be a sim. So he had this lady with pink hair and all this other stuff on the TV show. Someone is going to be able to tell me.
Oh, Pink Hair, is that the Drew Carey show?
There we go, Drew Carey.
Okay.
They put him in the Sims game. Because he was playing it so much, they decided, well, might as well put him in there.
Oh, that's the way it happens. I mean, Samuel L. Jackson got in Star Wars because in an interview he was asked, "So what would you like to do?" It's like, "I would love to be in the new Star Wars movies." George Lucas saw that. Okay, you're in. So if you're big enough and you have something you'd like to do, announce it somewhere.
And people will let you do it.
Yeah.
I mean, even if you're not so big, sometimes it works. I keep on hoping.
Well, hey, Marvel Comics, I'm available for a writer. Marvel, hi.
Just Marvel, no DC, no.
Not a
Horse?
DC fan. Well, Dark Horse is more independent stuff. So yeah,
True enough.
So any of the independent comic book companies that would love to have some new ideas, I have some, and I would love to do them. So
You just now noticed me. I'm sorry, Matt. I was actually listening to our guest. And every time I say that, I have little cups and teapots and dancing clocks and stuff in my head, singing.
Okay.
Be our guest?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You sleep till noon. That's because you can, Brad. You can sleep till noon. 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 No, you cannot. You have to actually go to that WORK thing. Stayed up till 2 on your live. Then was up by 8. Oh, man. Yep. Why do you do that to yourself, you reptile? I do appreciate you being on my lives, mind you. Or being here for my lives. It's just, I mean, I would do the same thing, actually. And I do thank you very much for enjoying my lives enough to hang out so long with me. Same with Arius, same with Mr. J, same with Brad and everyone else. My brain's Ozak and
Everyone else.
framework. Dang, why is it not working? Solo and Nikki and everyone and Kurtwood and whoever. I wonder who's hiding in the background right now. Do we want to bet that? Hey, Brad, want to bet on who's in the background right now? Would it be Justin? Justin usually is for a while anyway. What do you think? Who do we think is in the background just listening to us and not saying anything? Show 7 for you, show 7 for me. Okay.
I see 7.
Who? I don't know. Me, I'm hiding. Michaela's hiding. Yes. But I'm used to one of the. See, give you a chance to have a drink so that you can talk some more. So most of what you've done pretty has been the divided United States of America.
The divided states of America, yeah.
The States of America, which is
I'm
very
at some.
interesting.
Yeah.
You've done quite a bit on that.
7 stories, and I have the most. I've done the most to create, as well as So he had the nation states listed out and kind of planned out.
Right.
But I wanted to use my birth town of St. Louis in it. But St. Louis technically was part of the wastelands, the way he had it set up.
Oh.
But
Okay.
it's like, that doesn't quite fit with my use for it. And then I came up with this whole concept of the independent state of St. Louis. So I've written 7 stories, and I've created that whole thing for him. So
nice.
Outside of, and he's only written, I think, 3 or 4 stories for it himself. So outside of creating it, outside of the initial creation of it, I've done the most in that universe.
Right. You did that. You did that role-playing game with your friend, which mostly is stuck with you guys. And you've done Armand and
Georgie and Armand place. Yeah.
Why am I always on Georgie?
Yeah, Georgie and Armand place.
Georgie and Armand.
2 novels, 10 vacation stories that have been all collected into one anthology. And then, like I said, the special, technically it's reprinting what part of the first novel as a romance read that will be out this next week. So yeah, I've done quite a bit in this last few years with Georgie and Armand's place.
Yeah. And you also did the what is that called again? Frickin' hey, the Lemon Man or something?
The what? Oh, Lemon Man versus the Flannel Darkness?
Yeah.
That's one of the Georgie and Armand vacation stories. Basically,
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yes, it's Georgie and Armand going to a superhero world, and there are observations about the superheroes there, and they meet Lemon Man, who it was a joke. So for the last Spider-Man movie, they actually released Spider-Man energy drinks, and one of them was radioactive lemonade. And so me and my boys got to talking. Okay, so radioactive lemonade gives you the proportionate powers of a lemon.
Squirt people.
And so
That's not right.
Well, we talked. Okay, what would the proportional lemon stuff be? Well, really thick skin, thick yellow skin,
True.
and your blood becomes lemon juice. That's what we came up with. So that.
Wow, that might be bad for him.
But so that was the origin of Lemon Man, and it was like, yeah, this is absurd enough of a hero. We're doing it. So.
So you did it.
Yeah. It's once more. It's Georgie and Armand's vacation story. So Georgie and Armand are in it, and I definitely had fun. Just I love comic books. I mean, Spider-Man's my hero. I have so many
Batman.
of his comics. Nah. But really, I've always loved Spider-Man, and I'm a writer and I'm a rational person, so I see the flaws and the really absurdity in the comic book universes. So I was able to make fun of that a bit by having Georgie and Armand make these observations. Mm-hmm. They're in the superhero universe, like, this doesn't make any sense. What the hell? And be able to actually say that out loud to people in that universe. And the people in the universe are like, okay, whatever. It's just the way it goes here. Accept it, damn it.
It's just my world. I didn't make it. I just live here.
So yeah, that was a fun one to write because of that. Because it's like, okay, yeah, I can show my love for superheroes at the same time putting in the jokes and kind of making fun of the concepts that just are that absurd that you just have to accept in comic books. So the other stuff I've done, I just released a collection of stories called Tales of the Enforcers.
Yeah, I noticed that today.
Yeah, the Enforcers are basically a police force from the magical. It's a hidden magical world. Mm-hmm. Urban fantasy, the magical worlds exist right kind of alongside ours, but due to different things, we can't see it. But when elements of that world, the criminal elements of that world get involved in the non-magical world, they send out the Enforcers to deal with it. So they're kind of like the magical police force that specializes in keeping the magic under control, not spilling out into the non-magical world. So that was a series of stories I started a long time ago. And annoyingly enough, I only finished 4 out of the, I think, 10 altogether that I had started. But it's one of these annoying things where it's like, I have all this stuff just sitting there, but I just haven't gotten myself to finish it. But, it's sitting there. Let's get it out. Let's see if anyone is interested. So it's one of those, if I got good feedback, I might finish up some more of the stories. But so far, it's been out, I think, 2 weeks, and
let's see. That's the newest one that's out for you. Let's see. Well, do you have it in Amazon?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Oh, there it is. $5 for Kindle.
Tales of the Enforcers. Then the other thing I did was a little while ago. I released a collection called Onwards into Infinity, which was my I wouldn't say hard sci-fi, but definitely the hardest, about as hard sci-fi as I like doing. So it's science fiction definitely, and it's a collection of short stories that some of which were not originally in the same universe. But what happened was I got lazy. I'm writing sci-fi. I'm writing sci-fi stories, and it's like, okay, I need the Great Galactic Federation, but I can't call it the Federation. What do I want to call it? And so I came up with the name, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to start using everything that makes sense to use it instead of trying to invent a new one every time. So due to that, suddenly a couple different stories were connected. It's like, oh. And I look at it and say, okay, it fits that these stories could be in the same universe. And that made me backtrack a bit and realize, hey, wait a moment. This story could be in that universe. This story could. And so, in other stories, I make references that connect them. And before I knew it, I had a sci-fi universe made up of a bunch of random, most part unrelated science fiction stories. And about half of them I got published, and I just, wanted to put something out there. And it's like, okay, let's collect them all and show off my sci-fi universe.
Right. That'll be good. So there's a. Oh, brain went dead. I have to reboot it. Huh?
Want your brain to work?
Yeah. Okay, Morbid wants me to show something. Is someone using... Is someone using Darian's son to try to con people to give them money? That looks like Darian's boy. Oh, there we go. Someone's using Darian's boy Lucius to scam money off of people. Oh. I don't even know where to start with my pissed off right now. They're live on IG. Get Darian. Does anyone else know how to get hold of Darian besides me? I just have to find this freaking... There he is.
The guy private messages people on IG, Darian's live talking about it.
Oh. Okay, sorry. Right. Okay. Oh. Which cat did you scare? Puma?
I think got scared from something else, which kind of got me kind of
Startled.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. Okay, so everyone watch out for that scam. Dang. That's it's good to know that that's going on. It's hard to catch people doing stuff like that, though. Unfortunate. Okie dokies. So you've done a book. You've done the regular book things at book places.
You mean
conventions and
signings?
stuff.
Yeah. I participate in here in the Denver area, Denver, Colorado. I'm somewhat active with the conventions, and so I have I try to regularly attend them, and every so often I do get myself a table where I can sit and sell my stuff. So, and I love the whole environment. I mean, the conventions are just a blast to go with, especially once you reach a certain level. It's like you go and every 5 feet you're hugging someone that you know. Oh, it's great to see you again, because the con family that you only see at the conventions is a pretty awesome crowd.
Yeah, and you don't need to see them again afterwards. If you don't want. Just give them a hug and push them on their way. Kind of like going to a snake convention. Oh, much fun. So, but you've dressed up too. You've done cosplay.
Oh yeah. I myself don't do it as much as my boys, but the main costume I got known for was the War Doctor from Doctor Who.
Oh yeah,
John Hart's War Doctor. I did a cosplay of that fairly early on, and I got known for that one. And that I can actually say is an award-winning one. I actually did win an award for that. So the one I'm more known for having created with my son was we did do a Dalek. One year he said he wanted a Dalek costume, and like, okay, let's do it. And built out of cardboard and duct tape mostly, but we created him a Dalek costume. The two of us worked on it all, and that one is a numerous award-winning costume.
Mr. J loves Doctor Who, so you got yourself a fan there.
Cool. But we know our level of costuming, so we know what level of contest to enter in. And that Dalek costume we've entered in every contest we've entered it into, we've won.
Ian does Thor with that hair.
My girlfriend Thor and Oakenshield from The Hobbit are the two my girlfriend thinks I could pull off with this hair. So she's really big on the Oakenshield. He's the king, the dwarf, the dwarf that will become king.
Yeah, I'm thinking of what?
I don't know if Gandalf would quite work for me, but yeah, I guess. Yeah, at one of the local conventions here a few years ago, they had. But so a few years ago at one of the conventions, these guys got together and they went around as a sexy Gandalf, sexy Merlin, and what's the other guy? And sexy Dumbledore. So, yeah, it was these three guys. Okay, well, we can do that. You basically, just worry about the beards and the hat and in swimming trunks, and you're sexy. So we actually had a group going around the conventions as sexy Gandalf, sexy Merlin, and sexy Dumbledore.
Okay, Michaela. Have a good rest and yeah. Take care. Have a good sleep. get the kids off to bed. Your sister hasn't come got them yet. We'll see you a bit later. We have to come up with stuff for the other shows next week and everything too. Sexy Dumbledore. Well, it's pretty easy for women to do it. And it's like, okay, that's pretty cool for a guy because, hey, equal rights.
And as well, you could tell they were just having fun with the whole concept.
Of course.
So,
why not? I mean, if you're going to do something like that, you might as well have fun with it.
And that's one great thing about cosplay is the creativity. They really, you get out to the conventions and you just see it's like, wow, that's a great concept. So
yeah. Okay, now I have to look this one thing up that's in my head. One moment, please. And conventions. Oh yeah. No. How do you come up with ideas?
they're there. I mean, everywhere. That's one of those things. I guess that's one of the common writer questions. Where do you get your ideas from? But everywhere. I mean, there's no one place, no one way I get them. They just different things inspire me at different times, dreams, story you heard. Yeah, that's one of those things. Ideas come from everything in sight. So, and like I said, Serenity Payne. That was a name I saw on a package working for the post office, and I just loved it. It's like, okay, who is this character? Let's expand on it. But they can come from anywhere.
Have you ever had any angry fans?
I wish that's one of those milestones to me. Is hate mail, yes, awesome. Because that's kind of one of those things to actually, hey, someone even if they got pissed off at what I wrote, definitely it had an emotional impact. It hit them. That means that I'm doing something right. Even if you piss people off, to get that kind of reaction, you had to have done something right. So I look forward to my first hate mail.
Well, I'm quite sure that we could come up with something. Hey, guys.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Kurt. You're a little late, dude. How's it going? You missed pretty much everything. Even me yelling at someone. I just told him to fuck off, basically, if you wasn't going to behave. But, I want to see the lady. May I see the lady, Brad? I love his lady. Better late than never. Hey, it's wonderful that you've come to visit. It was very, very quick. What has this guy written? Georgie and Armand, couple dragons, sneaking up behind you. No, my husband does not sneak up behind people. And Venom has not come to visit, so Dorothy does not have to worry. What have you written, Ian?
I said mostly short stories. And there are one of the interesting things about nowadays is all the different markets that are out there. So a lot of my stuff is hard to find because one, it's all been in the semi-pro level, and those markets aren't necessarily the most stable. So that's one reason why I every so often do my collections, like Onward into Infinity, is just to make sure, hey, these stories are out there, but hard to find. Let's put them together and hopefully, get some people to enjoy them.
Very much. Look up on Amazon, Kurt. He has all of his on there. Georgie and Armand is a good series. It's about 2 dragons. And their motel and people who come to the motel and the worlds that these people come from, what kind of creatures and such. There's also, that's a little low-level reference of it, mind you. Ian can tell a lot more than I did, but that was really, really shortening it a lot. Just like, if I was going fishing, I would be saying that the fish was. But there's that. There's also.
Okay, so Curtis, Georgie and Armand are 2 gay shape-shifting master mage dragons who run an interdimensional hotel. So it's actually like the ultimate cross-genre thing. You got fantasy, science fiction, steampunk, horror, even a mystery going on, romance. I mean, it's a crazy thing of everything. So, but I myself just love Georgie and Armand, but I've gotten a lot of good feedback about it. One person's if you actually go to the Amazon page and look at the reviews, there's reviews up there. It reignited his enjoyment of reading, he's claimed. And I was like, that is awesome. Nice. And I've had a couple, one friend who was like, I looked at the cover, wasn't sure what it was, didn't think it'd be my thing, and she loved it. So,
just reading the characters is great.
Yeah, well, they've been so fun to write. I mean,
yeah.
And
Brian comes up with great characters.
Yeah, and my style is a bit chaotic because I really don't plan the stuff out that well. So I surprised myself. I mean, the ending for A Day at Georgie and Armand, I didn't know ahead of time. I had no idea how that was going to go down. All I knew was I was building up to this one big thing, and as I slowly put the pieces together myself, like, okay, I can use that, I can take that, I can take that. And next thing you know, I'm constructing this big final scene that has all sorts of stuff connected to it that I put in there. I wrote it, but I didn't know it was going to be used. But when I got down to the final story, no, that's being used now. That's being used. And so my writing's a bit chaotic in that sense. And I think that's been part of the fun, is sitting back and letting the characters kind of, really do more of the flow than me trying to push them in a specific direction.
Yeah, I get like that too. I have, like, I'll be doing something and all of a sudden I'll be thinking, oh, I have to do this, but wait a moment. Why am I thinking I should be doing this? This is what the character would think. And I'm really thinking out the character's concepts and thoughts and going their way instead of the way I planned.
Yeah. And the second book, Georgie and Armand's Place Under Siege, was like that as well. And due to me letting them just do their thing, I have unresolved plot threads left over in that book where I'm like, that wasn't planned. I don't know what I'm going to do. Let's put it in the... So I have to resolve some stuff in the third book, all because I let the characters do their thing on their own and, guide me. And went to some place where, like, I did not see that coming. I love it. It opens up possibilities, but I was not planning on that. So, and that, to me, that's the fun thing about writing it myself is hitting these surprise moments. Like, oh, I hope this caught me. I love it. I hope I can figure out a way to convey it to others and have them get the same kind of shiver when they realize what's going on. When the stuff just comes together.
Yeah, it's a good feeling when you get to the point where it's you found that you've written something that's really good that you didn't expect to write.
Oh yeah.
It just goes there. Yeah. Only one of them, Kurt.
Vacations, things like that. There is a fundraiser going on. I think
Okay.
Wow. I kind of noticed that, Brad. I take it things are heating up. Damn. Darian has enough shit to deal with without that crap. Oh, man. Anyway. What else here? We're gonna have to work together on something for November.
Okay.
For the November.
Oh, yeah.
Work together on something, maybe.
So you have
Or
to-
maybe yeah, that'd be an idea. Maybe. I've been trying to get something done on that for so long. It's been years, and I've been wanting every year to try to do something on that, and I just never. Things change and stuff goes somewhere, and Dorothy looks bored. See, my brain just I get distracted by pretty much everything.
I've
But
been there.
I haven't found any hard questions to hit you with. So, let's drop it into your corner for you to be able to toss questions out yourself, if you like.
Well, one of the fun things with Georgie and Armand's place is the rules of the hotel and stuff like that.
Right.
Because I have to know way more than I'm putting into the books. And I even have to think about little things. Like there's a, within the hotel, they have strong magics up all over the place. You can't die in it. It's a solid thing. You
can't die.
Right. No death within the hotel. It's significant. It's a rule that's there. And I even go into thinking, okay, what does that mean for like viruses and stuff? Technically, if you enter the hotel sick, you will not heal from it or anything. But your body would basically be in a stalemate because the viruses can't die, but they can't do any harm to you. So when in the hotel, you're just, viruses and stuff are just like frozen. They can't
do anything.
Yeah. But they can't die. So, of course, the moment you leave the hotel, they get to start up again. And I've had to contemplate every little thing of how, that kind of stuff would work because of the rule no death. And it's like, what level does it actually work all the way down to? It's like every level. And so, I've actually contemplated on the idea of trying to work that in somewhere. Because it's not stated in any of the stuff, but I myself know it for a fact rule because I have to. And especially with Georgie and Armand's place, that's one of the more interesting things is how much more knowledge I have that chances are will never be made into any of the stories, but the rules I have to know just because I have to know the workings of this incredible hotel so much better than anyone else. All the little details, everything. So if I ever get a fan base and they ask me the hard questions, I'm not going to pause. Like, no, this is how that would work. I've already contemplated that.
Right.
And so that's been one of the more interesting things with the the whole design of it is, okay, what are the rules and how deep do they go? And yes, I know this will never make it into the writings, but I better know this.
Right.
So
Because
I've
you
been,
have to know everything about what you have there. That's the second. Kurt, yes, next time I will tell people earlier. And you can always come to my site and watch this right from the start if you wanted to, because it will be on my site, on my sherrylynnmadcat. And thank you for coming. And you have a great sleep. And I can't say have a good time moving, but have a safe time moving. I think that works better. Anyway, so yeah, you take care. Have fun. Have a good moving in time. And yeah, you're not going to be very far from us. Wow. That's close. That's very close.
Should I be worried?
No, I don't think Kurt would be coming to visit us very often. He might come visit us, but not all often. Not unless we have Sulites coming to visit too. At which point our place would be bigger for them to come sit around at. So, thanks for coming, Kurt. Okie dokies. An hour and a half, we've been doing pretty good. So you just had to do that. I'm quite sure there's an awful lot more things that you can't tell specifically, but that you have set up for the motel itself, on what exactly is there, what exactly the magics are, and what. I mean, they're probably, the characters are probably revitalizing, or it has something to revitalize all the magic on a regular basis as well.
yeah, no, actually, I've more or less give the that's all in the first book is how that works.
Night night, Area. Thank you for coming.
Night night, Area.
Appreciated. Sorry I didn't notice you right away. Sorry.
But yeah, no, the first book actually does go into that. That I figured out, and I know how that works.
Mm-hmm.
And that was part of the plot of the first book. So
I did read a little bit in there. That's why I said that.
But yeah, and that's one of the just having to figure that out and know it, and even like except for I know more details than I can put in there. So and there's more to it. There's always more to it. And some of it is I know. Weirdly enough, I'm right now working on the third book. Fourth book is being put together as I go, and I've already guaranteed myself writing a fifth book. Just so that came about. One of the big things in every book is Georgie is going to host a show. He loves putting on shows of all kinds. In the first book, it was a fashion show.
I remember.
In the second book, it was a actual drag show. Third book, it's going to be a concert. Then I realized he hadn't done a burlesque show yet. So the fourth book is going to be a burlesque show. Then, but right now, a musical I don't get tired of is The Greatest Showman. The songs are just so great in that. Even though I know it's way off from the actual story of Barnum, it still is a fun musical. And it's like, I want to see it. I wonder what a circus would be like in there. Because one of the rules in the hotel is about consent. You can have pets because you're caretaking them and stuff, but you can't have work animals of any kind in the hotel because it's a consent thing. If the animals cannot consent to performing the labor, it's not allowed at all in the hotel. So obviously, a circus in the hotel might have trained animals, but those animals willingly learned it. They're there on their own free will and are actively engaged in it instead of just being whipped and stuff. There's, so it was one of those things like, yeah, it'd be interesting to see what the circus would be like. So the only reason the 5th book exists right now is because Georgie is going to host a circus.
Okay, so wait a minute. Does that mean that someone who has a seeing eye dog can't come in with it?
Well,
or is that
gets
a difference of opinion because the dog wouldn't do that so well if they didn't like doing it?
Yeah, that would be allowable. Once more, within the pets, a seeing eye dog would basically be viewed as an aid. They're not. I mean, the service pets are definitely trained and stuff, but they're not. It's not necessarily the same thing of making the horse do all your work for you and kind of stuff. So that would be
basically not having a slave,
right,
per se.
And so your service animals are going to be viewed a little differently. But the other interesting thing to that is certain things the hotel does have ways to compensate for. It doesn't necessarily heal you, but it will adjust and accommodate to help you. And that's one thing right in the 3rd book. It comes into play. I'm going to introduce a character who is in a wheelchair, and she loves the hotel. Whenever she's going down the hallway, if need to, it widens for her. The stairs will actually act kind of like escalators and move her up. She has access everywhere because the magic of the hotel accommodates for her. And I even have a throwaway line talking. This one character mentioned that, oh yeah, it's weird. It even translates sign language from any world. And so and he talked about how weird it is to have someone, doing the signs and stuff and hearing a voice when there's no mouth moving because the magic is translating it for him. So if you watch sign languages, there is a voice in your head telling you, translating it, making it so you can understand it. And I have him with the line talking about how surreal that is, just a bit off-putting. But yeah, that's one thing. In the 3rd book, I wanted to include some stuff like that about how, the hotel itself does have the magic to adjust as needed.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a fun part. Yeah.
Just the motel itself makes a book.
Oh yeah, no, I could very much see that. Just trying to do a full-on description of the hotel and everything about it, and once more, it goes into how much I have to have up here just to get on the page what's going on. But I mean, the 2nd book, the big thing is they have a full-on, complete racetrack that crosses through a magic realm, a steampunk realm, a modern technology realm, and a super technology realm. So in order to race a car on that racetrack, you have to build a car that has engines that can run in all 4 of those style of worlds. And that's to tell you how impressive the hotel is. This full-on racetrack, the size of like the Daytona 500, is in the hotel at some point. So yeah, and that's the level. The hotel legitimately has anything you can imagine, and so and the guide of a hotel would be several volumes without even trying. And the more I write, the more I get to explore that. And that's one of the other fun things about it is the hotel itself is limitless. So any characters I can come up with are in there, because there's no limit. Anything happens. Science, magic, steampunk, that's all in there. And there's all parts of the hotel that cater to that. And so, you get this whole thing of the interactions, and I kind of forgot what the hell I'm talking about. Oh, the massive hotel. So it's all there. I mean, anything you can imagine. In the 3rd book, I finally got around to writing aquatic creatures. That I mentioned in the 1st book. We talk about underwater ones,
in the 1st book,
but we don't really explore any of the underwater areas of the hotel, and I don't do it in the 2nd. So the 3rd one's like, let's do some underwater areas of the hotel, explore that, see the world in the underwater ones, and that was fun to write. And I want to do more of that because once more, this is an interdimensional hotel. creatures from 1,000 worlds are here. They're not going to be all us. And I love seeing just how different I get, not only physically and stuff, but even socially. I mean, I have a world of hypersexualized pansexual fairies that hook up. If they even come together just for a simple dinner party, it's going to turn into an orgy. And but that's not one of these incredible things on their world. And that's one thing that's briefly explored, because we then meet one of these fairies who just is not that way. He's the outcast of the bats, who doesn't believe you should have orgies all the time. But he's the outcast in this society. He's the one that doesn't fit in because, it's like, okay, it might be fun, but you don't need to keep doing it all the time. Mm-hmm. But he's a legitimate person, legitimate character. And, it was, and that's part of the idea of showing the different possibilities. Like, yeah, not every world's going to have the same morals as we do. Society is going to be drastically different for whatever reason. And I want to explore those without judgment, without saying this is better than us, this is worse than us. It's just, to me, this is an alternative. Mm-hmm. And that's with Georgie and Armand's place. That's one of the things I really am enjoying, is how much you can explore that, because there are no limits. So I can play around with all sorts of different setups and really get the idea that, this is what we are comfortable with, but that doesn't mean all these other thousand worlds are going to be even close to it. Even right. The more human ones are going to have different structures than we're comfortable with. And that keeps playing into some of my themes unintentionally, is the idea that, yeah, they're different, but,
they're them.
Yeah, they're them. And, I'm trying to get into the ideas on why they're that way. One of the species I introduced in the second book is a 3-gender, well, you could almost say 4, but that gets into some weird territories. A 3-gendered species where inspiration from deep sea fishes, that basically when the male mates with the female, it's attached to the female for life.
Oh, yeah,
there's a couple of different ones that do that.
Yeah, there's quite a few different ones, but they're the real deep water ones usually have that.
Yeah, anglerfish.
Close enough.
Like but yeah, anglerfish, I think maybe.
Angler,
that sound right?
Angler.
But so it's like, okay, let's put that into a bipedal, almost humanoid-like society, and see how that works differently. So constructing it, you have the males are noticeably shorter than the females. When a male and female at the proper time decide that they want to basically they literally spend the rest of their lives together, and think, okay, we'd be a good pair, we can live with it. They basically literally attack. The male jumps on the back of the female, holds on tight for however period of time it takes, and their bodies basically merge. So, and that's basically once you hit sexual maturity. Now, if a male does not find a female to become partners with, they go infertile and become basically the workforce of the planet. And that came about because I was thinking about, it's like legitimately the new bodies would be a bit clumsy and a bit more awkward, so they'd have a hard time doing a lot of the more basic work of the planet. And it's like, okay, well then that would make sense evolutionary wise to have
the ones who don't.
Yeah, the non-sexual males who have hit sexual maturity and then lose it become the workforce and become the basic, and that's most of the population of the planet.
Well, what about females?
So, technically, a female is the gender that contributes the largest sex reproductive cell to the mix. So the male and female are merged. They produce the cells within themselves. So the females are a small part of the population, but females, basically, if a female reaches sexual maturity and hasn't chosen a male, they die fairly quickly. Ooh. Yeah. So you don't have any females on their own after sexual maturity. But then, like I said, they're merged.
I said. Go ahead.
So you have the male-female permanently merge. However, they're not the ones that get pregnant, but they don't lay eggs. Instead, they have the third gender, the womb, that is the one that actually carries the pregnancies. And so, you have this, and you have this whole system. When doing the story, I actually utilized the birth ratios on each of them,
Right.
and a few things like that, where it's like, okay, this is, and so you can get an idea of the population. Generally, born, you have 3/4 male, 1/4 female. At sexual maturity, half of that merges together, so a third of the population then becomes the mated pairs, and the other 2/3 is generally the neutralized males that are the workforce in the body. And then for every, I forget what the ratio is, but for like 200 kids, you have a womb. So the wombs are the rarest of the genders, and the wombs are spoiled, rotten, not considered very intelligent, so that they don't really do much with them to inspire them and stuff like that. But it's a whole intricate system they've used for forever. And it was interesting to create that system and then make within it certain personal comments about how I view the world. But on top of that, this feels like a whole different world. We would completely not understand it because the way their system works is so alien to us. The way their genders work is so alien to us. The way everything about it is, in truth, an alien world that would really throw us off balance if we tried to figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to get off now. Since
Okay.
I really should go to sleep.
Yes, you really should. That's a good idea.
Okay. Night, night, Ian.
Good night.
Pleasure, sort of chatting with you. And good night, everyone.
Night dot. Oh. Leave studio.
Trying.
So how late we going?
However long you want to go.
Do we have anyone
Hello.
actually?
Hmm?
Is anyone
Is
actually watching us?
There are 4 people left. I believe we have Mr. J. I know that.
Mhm.
We probably still have Morbid. Yeah, because Morbid was here a few moments ago.
Mhm.
Isaiah is like still
so
here because
anyone-
he normally is.
Anyone want to try and inspire me to talk more? Leave some questions.
Anyone have any questions? Oh, did anyone even read? Yep, that's what I thought, Mr. J. Did anyone even read what I put for the what's that, Morbid? Take a peek at. Oh, dang. This stupid thing. I can't copy that directly from. Let's show this. Haha. That's the easier way to not be able to copy it. So that's oh, your link. Okay. That's Morbid's link. Anyone want to go there and anyway, go there and sign up to them, become a subscriber. Morbid's a good guy, got good stuff. And there's not many of us left, but yeah. Morbid's link. I'm signed up to you, aren't I, Morbid? I ought to be signed up to you. That'd be silly if I wasn't signed up to you. Let me see. Nope, not putting you in timeout. No. I've actually accidentally banned a couple people before.
Okay.
Yeah, it was fun. And it's like, oops. How do I fix this? How do I fix this? How do I fix this? Ah! So I don't think anyone really read what I put in the comments. Or did I put that in there? Oh, I took that out. Damn it. I had a little contest. I was going to do a little contest on whether people could figure out the question that I thought someone was going to ask. Because boss of balls. Tisk, tisk, tisk. I'm signed up to you too, aren't I? I don't know. Hey,
I'm sure
Ian.
you'll find out.
Night, night, dot.
Night, night.
Brain working here. Somewhere. Ah. Now my brain is falling asleep on me and I don't like that. I have to go on ESO for a couple minutes and oh shoot, I have to finish the... Anyway, that's no problem. Ugh.
All right, so what's the question you thought I'd be asked?
I thought someone would ask you... Usually people in my group tend to ask how mating rituals go between something.
Say that again?
Well, considering most of the people who I have friends with around here are snake breeders. So they probably ask how many times they have to lock or something.
Have to walk?
Or hug. Lock.
Lock? Oh, hook up?
Hook. Yeah. Get stuck together.
Well, no.
Have sex. So basically.
So with dragons, at least the royal blood dragons that Georgie and Armand are, there's various breeds of them, but there's really, really long-lived dragons. I mean, at the point of a day at Georgie and Armand's place, Georgie and Armand have been together for at least 5,000 years, and and that's just them together. So, dragons are really, really long-lived. Naturally, it goes into some stuff that there are worlds where they're hunted at and stuff and considered dangerous, but that makes it so they don't need to reproduce that often. And in the first novel, Georgie has mentioned he has tried to mate with female dragons. The reason that is he is of the Crest Dawn bloodline, and it is a huge deal that there's one dragon born to that bloodline every generation, and it is Georgie's duty to the bloodline to have an heir. The third book's going to really get into that more. But so dragons themselves are very non-social creatures in this world. And, one of the few things they might interact with each other under normal circumstances is to mate. But, they can go thousands of years without meeting each other. So, with the dragons, at least, the sexual nature is, most of them don't do it, which is another interesting thing with Georgie and Armand, is they actually engage in it regularly for fun. But Georgie and Armand in themselves are unique because dragons normally don't pair up like that anyways. Like I said, they're very big into this is mine, I'm not sharing it kind of mentality. And so they generally have a hard time getting along. And so there's a whole bunch of things different with Georgie and Armand that go outside of what is considered natural with the dragons. That they don't worry about, they don't mate for pleasure, they mate to reproduce. And that's the specific use of it. And so you get a lot of interesting with Georgie and Armand how much different they are than the regular dragons. But no, I have put thought into that.
I figured
So-
you would have. But I was just waiting to see who exactly was, if anyone in the chat would actually ask that.
Mm.
And if they did, they'd have won one of your books.
Now, admittedly, I jokingly mention in the second book a race that has 7 different genders, and no, I have not thought that well ahead. I have no idea how they work. But it's mentioned as a throwaway thing, as like, I'm not even going to try and figure that one out. You know, I got this one species with 3 gender. With 3 gender, I was able to figure it out and put it together. 7, give me time.
And put it together.
Well, like I have
puzzle book.
In the second book, I also have a whole thing. Basically, I specifically wanted in there in case anyone ever comes to me and says, "How does the banking system work?" There is a banking system in Georgie and Armand's place. It is the hotel itself has their currency, but they can do exchanges on thousands and thousands of worlds. They have a full-on banking system going. Don't the fuck ask me how it works. And I knew I wanted to get that out there. So in the second book, I actually have my character, Professor Gunn. He's a scientist, time traveler. He's one of the oldest characters I've ever used. I actually invented him originally back in grade school. And he's been in my mind ever since evolving. But he does this whole line about, I have this, I have a dozen doctorates. I have built this kind of stuff. Going into all the achievements, but I have no clue how the banking system works. That is beyond me. And it was kind of me putting something that's like, you know what? Don't ask. I am never going to know how this works. Just this is what I will openly admit is way beyond comprehension. But it's there. It works. Don't give me a hard time over it. And I think more authors need to do that, is look at stuff like, you know what? I'm not going to waste my time trying to explain that. I will make a joke about it. I will make a point about it. But yeah, don't expect me to ever try and figure that out.
Character who just basically says, I just work the damn machine.
Yep.
No clue.
Like I say, it was one of those times where I intentionally said, no, I'm going to explain right off the bat. The banking system's complicated. It's practically impossible. And I have no fucking idea at all what I'm talking about. But I'm going to make sure I never have to talk about it.
One of your readers are going to ask you, do know that.
I know. I look forward to the day where I actually do get questions that I've not thought about. I was like, that is interesting. Now I know something more about my hotel because I have to answer your question. And I'm sure, I know how big of a geek me and my kids are. So I'm sure that if people ever are, start being drawn to Georgie and Armand's place, the kind of questions that can happen, the kind of thinking that can happen. I mean, so there's a series on Netflix called Lock and Key based off of graphic novels by Joe Hill, Stephen King's son.
Okay.
Me and my oldest son loved the series. We've gotten all the graphic novels now because of everything else. But it's all about these magical keys. Okay. My son started collecting the magical keys. We have a collection of the lock and key keys. And yes, we have tried every one of them to try and see if we can't do them to do what they're supposed to do. And they don't work. Very disappointing. But my point here is the ideas we come up with as to how to abuse these keys and do some really messed up stuff that we've not seen in either the miniseries or the comic books. It was like, this is an idea. That would be cool to do that with that key. Would that work? I mean, we figured out how to make an unstoppable, unkillable army. We figured out how to basically destroy the universe in 1 second, and literally destroy the universe. It's one of these things where looking at other people's ideas, did they think you could do that with it? I wonder. Would they allow that rule to happen? But no, the lock and key keys have been a fun one to do that with, because you do, figure out what's the height of their youth, height of their use. What can you get away with, and how can you combine them to, proper effects and stuff? It's like, there's some pretty dangerous stuff in that. So it's one of those fun things, and I really actually would love the day where people came back to me with that, saying, could we make this, and this happen within the rules you've created? Okay.
Morbid comes up with the bad jokes.
But yeah, no, I love to get to that point where people kind of challenge me.
Not solved.
What?
They can be solved with a coat hanger.
No, I figured that was a typo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But no, I think that would be awesome to have someone actually come up to me and say, "Hey, you know what? You have this rule in there, and this we've seen. Is this possible?" And be like, "I never thought of that." And especially if it'd be something like on the spot, I have to figure out, okay, this is how it would work. And I honestly, that would be an awesome thing to.
Mm-hmm. That's okay, Morbid.
So, that's another one of those milestones to hit someday. Get hate mail. Well, for me, especially with knowing Georgie and Armand and what they are, it's like another one to be like, be boycotted.
And let's burn these books because it's about 2 gay dragons.
Book. I would actually sit there with my book on. This has been banned. The people are noticing it. It's bothering people. I love it. I keep thinking in my mind.
That's one of the reasons that that Harry Potter took off, isn't it? Wasn't there a book burning around that time? And
once Harry Potter started getting popular, they were banning it. They were attacking it. They were trying to stop it.
Yeah, and I think there were a few book burnings on it too.
It wouldn't surprise me. Properly. But I keep picturing, like, if someone were to go out and we are going to protest this bookstore that's selling Georgie and Armand's place and have all these signs against it, I'd probably do the Kevin Smith thing and show up and join them. And I keep thinking, it's like, if I haven't got to that level, as an in-joke, because I'm a Kevin Smith fan, I would make myself a sign that said dogma is dog poo. I want to go, I don't know if you know the whole story about him protesting dogma, making his own sign saying dogma is dog shit. I'd be a little family friendly and say dog poo, but it would be a joke of walking in my own protest, protest against my stuff, but with a sign saying dogma is dog poo as an in-joke to, say,
about dogma.
Well, no, to say, I'm doing the Kevin Smith thing. I'm protesting my own thing. It's like, that would be such an awesome thing to do. Those are the levels I strive for. But there's a level. But there is a level of that. If you have someone protesting you, if you have someone boycotting you, if you have someone wanting to ban what you wrote, you've done something right. Yeah. Because you've gotten someone's attention. And even if it's a book I disagreed with, I don't want it banned or protest or anything. But I see the protest against them. It's like, okay, I don't like the book. I don't want it seen. I'd never protest it. But it must be really, really good to get a reaction out of you like that. Even if it's good in the way that gets you to want to go against the book. It's like they did something right. And it's like, I would love, that's a huge one of those, I am striving to reach that level.
Yeah, and those are the ones that make me laugh too, because a lot of the people who are trying to ban them usually are trying to get the next book to find out what happens next.
Well, I don't know if you've seen them, but there's a fair amount of videos out there about talking to Christians without calling it the Bible, but telling them about stuff that happened in the Bible and getting some, we can't have our kids reading that. that should not be in their school libraries. A couple women get their father drunk in order to have incest sex with them because they want him to impregnate them. you tell someone that is an actual scene in the book. You tell them there's a whole fixation with penis being the size of a donkey dick in the book. And they'd be like, oh my God, that's pornography. We can't have that in our schools. Okay.
There's some stuff about these people going to find out whether this baby belongs to one mom or the other, and the king says, okay, let's say since both of you want them, I'll cut them up in half, and each one could have half.
Oh yeah, there's some horrific stuff. He
didn't do it because the mom who
one of the women ran. Well, no, it wasn't necessarily whether or not it was the real mom. It was the See, I can get into the whole thing on that. I've actually looked at how poor of an example of intelligence that whole story is, and all the great flaws with it, and how actually that in itself does not necessarily determine who the birth mom is. That it's a reactionary thing. It just tells, because sometimes the birth moms might not be the best moms, but so you can take that to a whole different level.
However, if the birth mom isn't such a great mom and she doesn't care, then it might as well go to the mom that does.
Right, but I get the whole Solomon judgment thing is, to me, not a good story of intelligence. There's so many flaws with that. But no, the Bible has other stuff.
If you said something like that, whether it's a good story or not, or whether it shows intelligence, people would be freaking out on the reference of, oh my God, he was going to chop this kid in half.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And the Bible has some pretty messed up stuff in it. Is it Samson? And so there's one story about these good God-fearing people. It was one of those things. The woman was captured by them and forced to be the bride, and the vengeance was, okay, if you guys all get circumcised and promise to follow our God, we'll make peace with you. All the men get circumcised, but are too weak from the circumcision. So the people that promised, if you get circumcised, we'll be good with you. The people that are on the side of God, then they come in and kill all the men in the village. It's like, okay, so you lied and deceived them in order to slaughter them after promising that you'd make peace with them. Yeah. And these are the guys on God's side. Even it's like, that's a pretty horrific story. And there's quite a few of them in the Bible like that. So yeah, if you were to break down the specific scenes of the Bible, it would be banned.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. But once they figured out it was the Bible, well, that's wrong. That's not really in there. Yeah. Sure it is.
Oh, I've had those kind of debates about, that can't be. No, it is. Just the stories. These are the stories that generally aren't focused upon because they definitely don't come out good.
Which part of the Bible do you want to use when whipping your wife? The one where you can use the stick that's this big, or the one that's this big? And which one will I be hitting you with next?
But that's where our moral compass is. Society cannot function unless we follow the teachings.
Some teachings from somewhere to, But I every book would have something that could be banned or could be used as being banned.
But to me, that's part of writing, is to kind of challenge ideas, put stuff out there that is questionable, that people might be bothered by. That's kind of what I like. I like to see that stuff that questions me, but gives me kind of the dilemma of like, I don't like this idea. I don't like so much about it, but I understand the rationale behind it and stuff like that. I like seeing stuff that gets me to think that way. And so, I try to write stuff that will kind of challenge ideas, and people read and say, wow, I'm not sure what I feel about that.
What are you trying to do, Bale? Usually he goes past me and then slaps me with his tail for a while. Being weird. But yeah. That's a good place to end off, actually.
Yeah, that works for me.
With that, I mean, I'd love to talk with you more and everything.
Yeah.
I just thought that's a perfect ending phrase there.
That works.
But it's been great having you here.
It's been fun.
I've had a great time with you, and let's see.
Oh, I have an ego, so I'm real good about talking about myself. Once you get me started and open that door, I'm gone.
Well, hey, we can do it again sometime.
Yeah, I'd be up for that.
And maybe we could do something like bounce ideas off of heads type of thing. Some kind of.
Well, you know how to contact me, so.
Oh yeah, I know how to contact you.
Send me ideas. I'll give you my feedback.
Yep. And I mean, we know how to terrorize each other just the same in the podcast. Oh man, I'm gonna get in trouble sometime for ending off the toying and thing with the can. Bring on, never mind.
Yeah, it's kind of getting late enough. That's like, yeah, what?
Huh?
Huh?
We have a
Pickles. Yeah. Wait a minute. What?
olives. Oh. Lemon. Yeah, I got lemon in my water. Just a bit. It's only about 1.5. Dorothy gave me some yesterday.
Okay.
But that was perfect time for bed. Good to see you.
Good night.
Exactly, Mr. J. So thank you everyone for coming. Thank you, Ian, for being here and being
Thanks
a great
for having me.
guest. It's been a lot of fun. And everyone, you take care. Have
Go
fun.
buy my books.
Stick around for a few. Take care. Have fun. Ring the bell. Thumbs up, thumbs down. I don't care which because it counts. And as per normal, laters, gators.